4 units submitted, all in perfect condition. But when accompanying documents is missing, NCRIM will not accept the sample for evaluation at all. Sample requirements are the most overlooked parts of RF certification in Malaysia. Most manufacturers focus on documents, but if local testing is required, the sample is just as important. Wrong sample, wrong quantity, wrong condition, and your application stops before testing even begins. In this video, we cover everything you need to know about sample requirements for RF certification in Malaysia. Samples are already required when local testing is needed for RF certification in Malaysia. Local testing is not standard route. Document evaluation using international lab reports is recommended, but 3 situations make local testing mandatory. First situation is mobile-based device. CRIM typically requires local testing for this. Second is IPv6 devices. For this, local testing is commonly in practice. The last situation is international report that don't meet CRIM technical scope. For this, local testing is required. If your product falls into of these categories, sample preparation start immediately. Samples submitted for RF certification in Malaysia go through up to 3 types of testing. First is radio frequency. This testing evaluates wireless signal transmission across 4 parameters: frequency range, output power, bandwidth, and spurious emission. The second is electromagnetic compatibility or EMC. This testing ensures your device doesn't interfere with others. The last is safety testing. This confirms the device and its power adapter are safe to use. Which test applies depends on your product type and technical regulation governing it. The number of samples depend on the evaluation required. In general, 4 units are needed, 1 each for certification, communication testing, safety testing, and EMC testing. But for devices with cellular features, only 1 sample is required. That single unit is used for functional verification, not fully compliance testing. CRIM check 5 things for cellular samples: model and label, frequency band, output power, connectivity, and basic operation. This is where many manufacturers get catch out. CRIM has strict rule on sample condition, and they are non-negotiable. Sample must be new, selected from production process or a final prototype. Used sample, reconditioned sample, or R&D prototypes are not accepted. Sample must be marketed with brand name and model designation, legible and easily visible. All markings must be in Bahasa Melayu or English. Samples must be submitted with all accessories, certified power supplies, adapters, plugs, sockets, connectors, and any other required components. 4 documents must accompany every sample submission: a copy of the certificate of approval, K1 form, SUNDEC information, and valid import documents. All documents must be in the name of the applicant. Missing even one, NCRIM will not accept the sample for evaluation. Samples are submitted directly to the project officer that handling your evaluation. If your product requires special handling or precaution, clearly state this at the time of application. Any discrepancy between the submitted sample and the model listed in the application may cause in cancellation or only a provisional approval being granted. Make sure what you ship matches exactly what you applied for. 4 things every manufacturer must know about sample handling after submission. First, sample collection. After your CRIM certificate is issued, You have 2 weeks to collect your sample. After that, SIRIM reserves the right to dispose of them. Second, mobile samples cannot be returned. SIRIM retains mobile device samples for compliance records and market surveillance throughout the certificate validity period. Third, SIRIM is not liable for losses. Any damage during shipment or losses related to the sample disposal are the applicant's responsibility. Fourth, submit correct sample configuration from the start. Incorrect configuration mean duplicate shipment and unnecessary costs. Wrong sample condition, missing accessories, incomplete accompanying documents, any of these stops your RF certification in Malaysia before testing even begins. That's everything you need to know about sample requirements for RF certification in Malaysia. If you want to know everything about RF certification in the world, subscribe. I will see you in the next video.